Hey guys, today's a different video. If you don't notice, it's just me here. And it's mostly because, as the title says, today I wanted to talk about The Last of Us Part 2, which is a game that had us waiting for 7 years and we finally got it. Keep in mind, this is my own personal opinion, and I completed this game about a week ago and wanted to just share my thoughts without any spoilers. So without further ado, let's get into it. Scenery and levels you go through feel so real that it just makes the experience so immersive, in my opinion. I love being immersed in games like The Last of Us, and the visuals of this game just keep me glued to looking at the screen and everything around me, almost as if I was the actual character going through the scenery. Speaking of the immersion, this game has amazing sound design. I personally suck with hearing and telling the difference between sounds, but I felt as if this game really made it clear what was happening in my environment. For example, you best know I was on my toes when the sound. If that didn't give you a PTSD, you've played way too much Last of Us. Now, yes, this is an iconic noise, but unlike in the first game, whenever I heard that noise, or any noise in general, it's almost as if I heard it in its exact direction. I could tell where something was just off the sound alone, like if I was actually there, which I found difficulty doing in the first. To me, hearing a clicker and knowing where the sound comes from felt so surreal, and an immersion only sound design this amazing can really pull off. I won't talk much about this because all I can really say is that this game, like the visuals, pulled off the sound design. If you couldn't tell at this point, I really like being immersed in games. In The Last of Us Part 2, the gameplay doesn't fall short. In the first game, the gameplay felt pretty clunky and at times not really realistic. I also have to say, in the first game, it was way too often I got ammo to the point where I could just go ham on these poor gangsters with the wrath of Joel, and I didn't feel deprived like in an apocalypse. In Part 2, however, the gameplay feels more realistic, smooth, and at times felt like I had to actually play stealthy to not waste my precious ammo. Maybe it's just me, but I loved the inclusion of a gun sway that's actually noticeable, because it made me feel as if I was a panicking survivor, completely surrounded, where there's no way I could actually be still in this type of situation in real life. The longest I have to wait in this game is when I first load up my save, and that's not even a problem, because I like to get cozy in that time, you know? I mention this though mostly because every time I die, I would wait barely 5 seconds max, and immediately at minimum, to get right back into the game, which is just a dream in my opinion. The Last of Us is a type of game I hate dying in because it almost breaks the immersion. But to be fair, that's my fault for dying, and the game now is basically lifting me back up into the immersion with its quick load times, and I love it so much. I could marry the speed times in this game. Things, however, I don't like about the gameplay is that sometimes your companions can get in your way, causing you to be caught. And yes, it's more realistic for them to be a person who isn't just gonna move right out of the way, but get out of my way, you hoe. Another thing I dislike is I won't be moving at all and a clicker just sees me somehow. Even though the last time I checked, blind creatures can't see. I don't know, maybe I'm stupid and like suddenly just blind creatures, they have eyes now. Okay, I don't know. However, that's enough about the gameplay, and time for the thing you actually want to hear, and that's the story. I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I personally enjoyed the story. However, that doesn't mean I think it's perfect, and as I want to be as unbiased as possible, I'm going to be speaking both of pros and the cons. The story in this game takes place years after the Salt Lake Hospital incident, and we get to see our amazing characters grown up and going through their daily lives. However, as I don't want to spoil, I'm going to try my hardest to not say anything further about the actual story and more about the feeling of the story. So this game is an experience, and like the first game, the voice acting, cutscenes, and dialogue is just top notch. Going through this game, I definitely could feel how the characters felt through the voice acting, and the animations were so detailed, like extremely detailed and pleasing to the eye. A con, however, is some characters I could care less about and didn't feel any connection to them due to their development as a new character. The story is also slow paced, and sometimes I felt like it would just be the end and then kazam! Naughty Dog pulls more story out of its hat. This can, however, also be seen as a plus because it gave more gameplay, but it definitely felt a little dragged out at times. I do believe this game makes up for it though with this adrenaline and motivation to keep going, and just you want to see what happens next. Because the story tries to pull off a lot of things, and I think the experience it gives you is worth it. You can tell Naughty Dog had an idea and they stuck to their guns instead of just falling into the usual game developer trap of making a whole lot of fan service, especially with the following the series has. I would much rather have this story than a game completely just fan service. Now, should you buy this game? Well, honestly, even though this is a spoiler-free review, if you're watching this, you've most likely been spoiled because, come on, don't lie. You've been spoiled in some way. No one knows how to chill online. Okay, I personally treated this game as if it was Avengers Endgame, and I swear I didn't see social media for 3 straight days till I was able to start playing, which I believe helped me have a very uninfluenced opinion, thankfully. Now, I believe this game is an experience with amazing visuals and hard work put into it. So I say yes, I'd recommend the game even if it was just for the gameplay. Whether you feel negatively or positively towards the story, I still believe this game gets a pass on the list of to buy. If you still feel anxious about it, then I suggest you wait for a sale and get it for cheaper, but for everything you get out of this game, I wholeheartedly believe is well worth the $60. Now, this kind of discredits my whole review, but I highly recommend you don't let other opinions decide how you feel about this game and experience it for yourself and see how you feel, because that's just the beauty of opinions. We always need more of them. And I hope you enjoy this video. I know it's not as crazy as our other videos, but I just really wanted to share how I feel about this game. And if for some reason you want more of this, I'd really be honored to get the guys and review other games, because this is really fun to make and something I never thought I'd see myself doing. So I'll see you next time, and I hope you have a nice day. See ya.